your kids fighting and the sibling rivalry is very hard as a parent to get through. It's exhausting, it's frustrating for you as a parent, for me as a parent. Look, raise your hand if you've ever heard, Mom, Daddy hit me. Right? Raise your hand if you ever heard it's not fair. You always favor them. Yeah, I have heard that hundreds and hundreds of times. My name is Mike. I have 5 boys. I'm a dad of 5 boys. I have 2 wonderful grandchildren and have been married for 31 years. Today I'm going to talk about siblings fighting, the rivalry, what causes it, how to help prevent it in some cases. So without further ado, let's get into breaking this down and stopping our kids from fighting for the most part. Now look, it's natural. It happens, right? Kids want to test boundaries with each other. It's just what kids do. They're going to fight. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong as a parent. However, we can help mitigate the situation and make it easier on them and ourselves, okay? So what kind of triggers this? And I can only speak from my experience, right? So what really has triggered my kids, particularly when they were younger, arguing and fighting with each other, was they were either overstimulated. That happens a lot. They're tired. They're hangry. They're hungry. Right? Yeah, those 3 things can cause a lot of sibling rivalry and fights right there because their mood isn't right to begin with. And then another one, more on a deeper level, may be perceived favoritism from one kid to another, and that is also a reality, and that does happen. Your kids don't want to see you favoring one or the other. But jealousy, that's a big one too. Now, let's start off with the jealousy thing because I do think that's a little easier for you as a parent to mitigate and control. You cannot compare your kids to each other ever. I don't care if it's academics, sports, behavior, whatever. You can't do it because that can create a lifelong rivalry between 2 of your kids. If they think you as parents love one more than the other, that's a serious problem. So we have to nip that in the bud. Now, my kids all the time, well, not all the time, but every now and again would ask, Dad, who's your favorite? Well, I got 5 boys. And I would say, well, on Monday it's you, on Tuesday it's him, Thursday it's him, Friday it's this guy, 5 days a week, right? One of them would have one day of the week they're my favorite, and then on weekends my wife was my favorite. So yeah, I mean, you can't let them know, or you can't have a favorite. Every day of the week, one of them's my favorite. So they all got an opportunity. Also, that one-on-one time with each kid is so important. I don't care if it's 10 or 15 minutes. Getting one kid away from the other or other multiple kids, I don't care if it's just going to the grocery store or whatever, but getting them isolated where it's just you 2 and you guys can just hang out and talk and just be 2 humans hanging out, that's a great thing. And that needs to happen with each one of your kids. Even if they're in trouble for some reason or another, this has to happen. I think anyway, you got to really have that one-on-one time with each individual kid. Another thing is, besides not comparing them and getting that one-on-one time with them to help foster, the relationship you have with each individual kid, is you can't just punish the older kid when you walk into a situation where they're going at it. Now let's talk about the other parts of it where it could be overstimuli, they could be hungry, they could be tired. So many things can be solved with laying on the couch, turning down the lights, and putting on a movie that pretty much everyone will watch, even if it's for just a half hour or so, just to kind of calm the temperature in the room and just relax. Another thing we've done is put on some beautiful classical music, turn the lights down, and just kind of take our turn, my wife and I, rubbing their heads or whatever, just kind of bringing the temperature down in the room or the house to stop the fighting. Now, what happens when you hear the fighting? You're in the living room and you hear in somebody's room or another room that two siblings are about to go at it and you can hear it. Get up and breathe. You have to be calm when you're going into the situation. You are the judge, jury, and executioner. So you have to go in with a level head and breathe. Calm down. This too will pass, okay? And remember, it's our job to foster the relationship. When you walk into the situation, don't automatically blame one. And I've been guilty of this numerous times, walking in and be like, Philip, what are you doing? Instead of just assuming or whatever that it's one, ask them both, what's going on in here? And then they'll both talk. Silence one of them and say, look, we're going to let them talk. You and I are both going to listen. And then if they try to butt in while one's explaining, stop. I'm listening. You should listen too. And then after that one's done talking about whatever the issue is, go to the other one with them all in there. So nobody can lie. Nobody can do this or that. You have them in front of each other and then ask the other one what's wrong. And then maybe the other one will butt in and you have this learning, thing you can do with them. Teach them, stop, let them talk. Dad's listening. You should be listening too. And when you do that, you give them that example that you're listening and they should be listening as well. I got a few more tips here. So we talked about breathing when you go in to resolve the conflict. Of course, you're going to have to discipline whatever discipline you feel necessary for the situation, but you're going to have to discipline them, because if not, it's going to continue to happen and at a very rapid and aggressive rate. So the discipline has to happen. But after the discipline, listen, they have something very special and unique. They have two siblings. And when you have two siblings that can grow up together and be strong and love each other, when they become, young adults or adults, they're going to be almost impossible to stop together. That's a great blessing to have two siblings that are close together. So after the temperature in the room has dropped down, you've decided on a punishment or whatever, it's time to start building that relationship back together, okay? So a couple things we've done, you can have them work on a project together, whether that's cooking, baking, gardening, building Legos together, it doesn't matter. Find something that they can do together that they both enjoy, if possible, and that will help foster that. Another thing, and with great results that we have had, is put them versus the world. Them two have to work together to defeat the world. And who is the world? Me or their mom. Whether it's a game where they two compete against you, whether it's whatever. But make those two work together, or 3 or 4 or 5 kids, whatever it is. Make them work together, and then against the world, against you. And we found it to be games or whatever, and then allow them to win. And then when they win, they feel like they've accomplished something. They got together, and it was them versus the world. I hope these tips help you. If you enjoy my channel, I would sure appreciate a like and a sub. For now, this is Mike, Dadify Boys.